Hello and welcome to another edition of Untitled KKP Show, the show where we talk about video games and nothing but, maybe even some anime here and there. But we still don't bother titling our show. Of course, that's going to be a running thing they're going to be talking about always, bringing up in every intro. My name is Jonathan Toyad, and with me is Louis Larcombe. We will be talking a lot about the Xbox Showcase and the PC Gaming Show, the last two big shows of gaming that we actually covered, and then as well as some thoughts from Louis, because he did not share his in the last show, as it was actually a solo thing that I did. But first, maybe we'll talk about some of the demos from the Steam NextFest that's happening from the 10th of June until the 16th or 17th, depending on your time zone. So, Louis, maybe you want to bring up a game or two that you've actually played during that showcase?
Yeah, well, I think most of the demos that I've been playing may not be exactly associated with like the Steam NextFest, but like are associated with another showcase that happened, which was the Southeast Asian Games Showcase.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, this was a lot of revisiting because fortunately, I got the chance to play a lot of these games during a local convention that we have here in Malaysia called Level Up KL, where a bunch of Southeast Asian indie devs come together and kind of just show off their games to possible investors and people of the public, right? So a game that has been on my radar for a while that I thoroughly enjoyed. I played the demo a while back and it was quite buggy, but this time around it's definitely a lot better. They fixed some of the bugs where you just get stuck and stuff like that. Is Acts of Blood, which is kind of I think Indonesian Sleeping Dogs essentially, but the combat is like is just insane. The choreography and everything is it's such a great and ambitious project. That
From
is
one person, by the way. One person did all this. Yeah.
Which that makes it even crazier as well. It's so cool. And yeah, it's just I can't help but think that like as time is going on, like Indonesia is really cementing themselves as like literally the powerhouse of Southeast Asia when it comes to indie development and stuff like that.
If it wasn't apparent then, it's probably a lot more apparent now. There's also other titles like the mecha game Kriegsfront Tactics. There's also the Coffee Talk Adventure. But sorry, go on, keep going on.
Yeah. I mean, if you just look at if you even watch the showcase, I think anyone will notice when they show up the title card for the game in the corner, majority of the time it was an Indonesian flag that came up. So it was just crazy. But another game I definitely want to check out was Over Hours. Over Hours is a kind of like a tower defense game. Whereby you play as a kind of an owl whose work is getting overrun by like monsters and stuff like that, and that is that's a game developed by Control D Studios, which is actually based in my hometown of Kuching. I had the chance to beat them at Level Up, interviewing them as well a little bit.
That's
which,
awesome.
You can find on our TikTok. And turns out, like, because Kuching's so small, we know like a lot of the same people and whatnot. We went to they went to school with like some of my friends and stuff like that. But yeah, that is a really like. For me, the aesthetic of the game is what's most appealing. I've never been the biggest fan of tower defense games, but I think the aesthetic really helped me at least kind of like push past like that wall and like actually try and kind of get a feel for what makes the game so likable. And it was just the sheer chillness. You have like the perfect balance of being able to turn off your brain, but then also use your brain at the same time. It's just like got that nice middle ground of just like being able to chill and just play smart, play a bit strategically, placing down traps, placing down like turrets and stuff like that to help you out. Other than that, I've still got quite the list to play as well. I think Coffee Talk Tokyo is a game I'm definitely going to be checking out, demo-wise. I'll probably go play it later this week. And I mean, it's just, Tokyo Productions and Coffee Talk is just, it's a vibe. It's chill. You're just, making coffee, listening to stories. And I don't think, it's the perfect game to relax to, and I'm not surprised with that. It is such a cult classic almost now amongst Toge production fans. Yeah, it looks pretty. I mean, it looks good. I'm looking forward to trying that out. I think I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of my because I've actually gotten to meet the devs at Tokyo Productions, but a lot of their games did just stand out to me. Like I think it was announced a couple days before the C Game Showcase, but it was kind of like reiterated during the showcase. Was Whisper Mountain Outbreak, which is a game that we had previewed before.
Yeah, I played a demo of it a while back to last year's indie Malaysian fest that happened. Yeah, I probably.
Yeah. So we played it. I played it with Zandria back at, I think it was Level Up. I think it was one of the business days for one of the indoor ones, and then we got the chance to play it again online as well, and we even filmed the video for it on KKP.
Nice.
So it was, yeah, that's a game that to this day I still think has a lot of potential, and is, if picked up properly by the right types of content creators and streamers, could become a very good multiplayer game that will kind of gain a lot of recognition just through being a fun game to play with friends on stream and create content like a la Repo or like Lethal Company, stuff like that.
Yeah, that game, Whisper Mountain Outbreak, has the potential to be like another Among Us if the right couple of streamers picked it up. And I do know a lot of people online have an affinity towards Resident Evil Outbreak, which is also very topical with this and last week's show, the one I did solo, because of Resident Evil 9, which has ties to Resident Evil Outbreak, because the main character, Grace, one of them anyway, is actually the daughter of the one of the characters in RE Outbreak.
Right.
And we have Whisper Mountain Outbreak, which is, a tribute to Resident Evil Outbreak and Outbreak 2.
Yeah.
But in the more isometric, pixelated Toge style, because Toge, before they went really, really big, they have done a lot of zombie games. Infectinator and whatnot. So good, callback there. And since we're on the facts, since we're talking about demos and whatnot, I do actually have been playing a lot of Steam NextFest stuff that were all announced during the shows that you covered. Well, thanks by the way for covering all the write-ups for Summer Games Fest, State of Play, Southeast Asia Game Showcase, and PC Game Show, and what's the other one? Xbox Showcase. All not in an order, but good. Yeah, go check it out on the website. And I played a couple. I guess you could start with Absalom, which actually had a new character being introduced in one of the shows. So it's a beat 'em up. It's made by God Crush Games and another partner here and there. Now the thing is, it's a roguelite because you get permanent power-ups if you die when you go back to the start. And unlike other beat 'em ups, you have one life, and then if you die halfway through in the middle of your run, you have to start at the beginning, like any roguelike title. And I believe you have I went through the demo. Actually gave me one stage. I got to pick between the dwarf and the elf, so I went for the elf because I'm fake fantasy racist in a sense. I prefer the tall ones and the short ones. Anyway, the elf has a heavy sword attack. It's got the light combos and whatnot. I feel like that's a default character you use, and when you go through certain sections of the game, you get to basically collect special spells. So they can either be like a fireball in front of your face kind of spell, or an AoE attack. And you get to switch them up or even buff them up. And then you can even buff up your regular attacks. You can buff up your special attack to have it inflict fire or poison damage or ice damage. Kind of similar to Hades in a sense, where you get to improve your individual movesets and whatnot. But if you die, you lose everything and you have to start all over again. So in that aspect, the controls feel really tight and good. When I played this, I'm reminded of the last game they made, which was Streets of Rage 4, which had really, really tight controls. And the animation's a little different. It is still smooth. It still has sharp lines. When I look at it, it still looks and feels like it's a different art style game, but still similar to Streets of Rage 4. That makes sense.
Yes, got the same skeleton to it.
Same skeleton, but still the same quality as well, which is good. So that game is coming out in 2025, no release date. So hopefully it doesn't get pushed back because I do want to replay this game here and there. I just felt good just juggling enemies and avoiding boss attacks. Like I fought 2 bosses, one big goblin king and one undead king. They're both equally tough. And miraculously, I actually got through it alive, like with 10% of my health, because I do know how to cheese these beat 'em ups. Like you gotta walk a certain way to avoid certain attacks, and I think hopefully they don't make it that easy, or just try to add a bit more of a challenge to it. You do get juggled up quite a bit, and your invincibility frames to get knocked down is pretty generous, which is good. So I'm guessing there'll be some enemies, if you knock them down, they'll do a wake up attack, like in Streets of Rage 4. Some enemies have that, and then they can explode in your face. So you also can dodge too. So I believe that kind of challenge is really fair. So it's more or less testing your reflexes. So I'm looking forward to this one. Other demos I did play. There's Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. A demo of that came out. There are 3 stages. There's one stage you play as Kenji, the main guy. It's like a tutorial, and then the first stage where you actually get to do this really cool guillotine kick. So when you jump, when you press the jump button again, you do a spin attack. That spin attack lets you bounce off enemies, because normally if you jump and you try to, when you see an enemy below you, you go through and get hit, right? If you do the guillotine kick, you bounce off that enemy. Like you need an enemy to do a second jump, and then you can do this continuously, because when you do a guillotine jump once, you get to do it again on another enemy, and so forth.
So you just resets. Got it.
Yeah, so there'll be many segments, especially in the 3rd stage, where you'll have to basically do multiple guillotine hops on enemies that pop up. Like there'll be a row of them at a bottomless pit. They'll pop up, and then when you guillotine kick the 3rd enemy, another row of them will come out on the other side. So you have to do another hop again. So those are your platform challenges. Another challenge is you actually, in the story, you get possessed by this black spider ninja named Kumori. And then when you reach basically a demon coffin, let's just say that, if you sleep in it, because let's just say there's an obstacle, like a door. To open it, you have to go in the demon coffin, have Kumori pop up, and then she'll have to go through a series of platforming bits, which are all timed, by the way, because after like maybe a few seconds, when her I guess the spirit bar empties, she warps back to the coffin, and you take control of Kenji again. So you need to actually be Kumori for a few seconds, go through platforming bits, collect spirit energy to keep the meter running, and then you open up the switch at the other side of the gate. These are pretty cool sections. They introduce but the fact that Kumori shoots only projectiles. She's a long-range character. She also has a guillotine kick, and she has this move where she shoots a shuriken at like an eye demon. Basically, it's like a demon eye thing. You teleport to that spot. You only kunai teleport to specific enemies, like the eye demon. You have all your platforming wits and tests being platforming challenges testing you by using these abilities, like like the jump, hanging out on the ceiling, doing the teleport. Because there's one where you have to do it 3 times in a row, and there's no platforms above you. There's no platforms below you, so you gotta time it right, basically.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Really cool
sounds
stuff.
like my hell. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been the biggest fan of platformers, and it sounds like it requires you to have like a lot of experience and a lot of IQ in that field.
Yeah, I remember your patience being tested with that ninja game last year. The remake of that one game.
I wiped that from my memory. That one.
But unlike that piece of shit Controls game, I mean the game is unlike that game. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound's controls are very tight and spot on. Kenji and Kumori control like a dream. You play, I'll trust me, you play the demo, you'll love the first stage, but you might hate the 3rd and 4th stage. I mean, the 3rd stage, which is like an extended version, with the platforming and all that. That stage is pretty tough, in terms of jumping around and whatnot. But it controls like a dream. So this is more like the controls, like making or breaking the game. It really makes this title. I feel that I love the controls as a platform 2D connoisseur. It looks really good because of the pixel art as well. I mean, especially when you get like, when you do the hyper charge attack where you one hit kill enemies, and that effect is really good. So hyper charge attacks is like certain enemies will start glowing. you hit them, it'll power up your attacks one time. So basically, when you get the charge, you'll have to use that one attack. The next attack will be like a one-hit kill thing, which is very important because some enemies hit you take like 4 or 5 hits to kill some big enemies on stage, and you need that to, maybe break the time, or like try to go through it through a speed run or time trial thing, or just make your life easier basically. But that means you basically cannot attack because you cannot spam your attacks. It's not like you activate it once and you can keep spamming your attack. No, this is like a one-time thing. You gotta use either your shuriken attack or your melee attack will just hit once, and then that's it. The power-up is gone.
Okay, all right. Do you like what do you call it? It's by the Game Kitchen as well that they made
Blasphemous 1 and 2. Correct.
Yeah, Blasphemous, which is like a game that you've raved about endlessly. Do you see any of that DNA in it as well?
It's the controls are faster and smoother. They're more like, it's less methodical than Blasphemous 2. But because this is more like because Ninja Gaiden Rage 1 is more of an action platformer game, so you need to be on the move basically. Yeah. So level design is mostly just keeping you on your toes and giving you hard challenges to navigate through. Right, okay. Like the Ninja Spirits game you played back in the day, Ninja whatnot, but faster and better controls. Okay. So I do feel that this could be another sleeper hit, because there's also another Sega game coming out that's like this. It's rival Shinobi Art of Vengeance. So that could be like the rival to this one. So Ninja Gaiden Rage 1 will be coming out earlier. It's 31st July. And Shinobi Art of Vengeance is coming out on the 29th of August. So it's 1 month after the other. Apart. Yeah, 1 month apart. So it remains to be seen which one will be better. I'm going to be playing both, definitely. I will be buying both 100%, because this is my era of kind of gaming coming back somehow. Ninja games in the 2D era. Oh, and one really cool thing, they brought back the eye catch jingle from Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. Like when they had the title card, it's a remix of the title card. Yeah, so that's a nice throwback. They will probably bring back the composer Kenji Yamamoto for some tracks, because that's what they said in the announcement. I think it was State of Play, or was it probably State of Play. It was they announced that they're gonna bring back 1 or 2 classic music makers, like Kenji Yamamoto. Yeah. Alright. Let's see. I also played Mina the Hollower. That was announced in Summer Games Fest. That's the upcoming Yacht Club games. That's a lovely demo, by the way. It showcases the first stage, and you actually go through a town that's being invaded by other rat people. So you play a Hollower, and you actually come back from a journey for so long to visit the town, and then it's been invaded by rats and whatnot, and your ship actually got destroyed by a giant kraken, and you go through like a bunch of stages in top-down form. So imagine a more action-packed Zelda with some stages interconnected and whatnot. So dungeons like Zelda, big action game. So you get to pick between a giant mace, was it? A whip, or two swords, daggers combination. Yeah. I tested out all 3 of them. I kind of prefer the 2 daggers. It's faster. And the range isn't so bad. I mean, compared to the whip, it is shorter, but I like the fast attacks. And this kind of reminds me a bit of Pipistrello, a game I raved on about a month or so ago. But I think this graphics is more old school. It's more 8-bit and NES in nature. Imagine a Game Boy Color game coming back to life. So, and then even the control schemes and whatnot are just as responsive and restrictive as Pipistrello, where Mina the Hollower, she jumps, and then when she jumps, she can actually burrow down the ground. So she can go through obstacles here and there, or carry items while she's underground. Like, so when you submerge from the ground, you get to pick up whatever's above you. So you can actually throw objects or whatnot to damage enemies or open up switches or whatnot. And you still need to tunnel around back and forth, because there are a lot of like hidden passages you need to go through that are really hidden. You need to squint your eyes and spot that whether that's an underground passage or not, or something you can actually blow up and crack. So it's got the whole classic Zelda shenanigans where you need to actually check every nook and cranny to find secret spots, or open up an area at a switch and whatnot. Yeah, I also fought 2 bosses in that game. Yeah, they're pretty challenging as well. I actually died a couple of times because of me just getting used to the controls and whatnot, and
Yeah.
the hitboxes and the enemy patterns. They do hit really hard, and yeah, I really like the challenges too. And because I like the fact that they change up their patterns when your life is like at like half or 1/4. So
Yeah.
they speed up the attacks, which is really cool.
Oh, okay.
So I do expect a lot of challenges in that vein, like the old school challenges from your Zelda games in Mina the Hollower, which I
Yeah.
believe is coming out on Halloween, 31st
Yeah.
of October. Really appropriate given you fight zombies. It's got that whole like spooky motif, not the horror game.
Yeah.
It doesn't jump scare you. It's just spooky in that sense. I mean, besides your main character Mina, I think she's like a stand-in for a Belmont, like a Simon
Yeah.
Belmont, except she's a girl. She's a rat. All the characters are all rats and different animals here and there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it looks pretty good, to be honest. I mean, I think the aesthetic as well. It definitely for modern pixel like games that use pixel art. It was very, very nostalgic looking. Like it looks like like you said, it belongs on like a Game Boy Color or something. In terms of if Game Boy Color wasn't it just didn't have like that green ugly screen on it. And it was actually able to really implement saturated colors and whatnot. But yeah, it looks really good.
I think I would like if I finish the game. I think one of the bonuses I would like is if I finish the game, get to play a new game plus. Monochrome mode, so it looked exactly like a Game Boy game back in the day. Yeah, I mean Game Boy Color did exist, and people jumped onto that because of Pokemon at the time. So Mina the Hollow is emulating that timeline. But to play that kind of game in like gray, black, as well as the screen, like maybe even an extra challenge where if you play it for longer than 8 and 9 hours, the screen starts fading like an actual Game Boy,
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. That would be a really cool bonus. A couple more before we go to your parts. Ball X Pit, Devolver Digital. That is the one Devolver Digital game that they made a pretty silly presentation involving a fake developer named Ken Lim or whatnot. They had a Indian guy playing this game developer, talking like one of those arrogant independent developers who's like too good for everyone, and then that's a joke where, but you actually were being helped by other developers, and then they jump cut back and forth to the actual developers and whatnot. It's It's one of those stupid jokes that pop up, the making fun of the Steve Jobs kind of character,
Yeah.
in that sense. So this Ball and Pit game is a roguelike ball bouncing 2D title that's kind of like Breakout and Arkanoid. You move forward, you have enemies coming from the top, slowly like walls. And I just throw your ball at them and then you hit them multiple times. You actually get to get multiple balls on the screen as a roguelike should. They give you extra power-ups. Have the balls go through enemies once or twice before they bounce onto them. And have balls, dealing more damage until they hit the wall at the left or right or at the bottom. So unlike Arkanoid, when the ball reaches the bottom, you don't die. It bounces back up again.
Okay.
But if enemies go through the bottom, they will damage you regardless of which position you're at.
That makes sense.
Your objective is to kill them before they reach the bottom of the screen. So while that seems easy at first, there'll be more enemies swarming you. Some of them will take longer to kill. And I actually fell for the trap where basically I had a ball stuck at the top. Because enemies keep spawning from the top, my ball keeps bouncing, and it did not hit the boss character that keeps going down and down. And when the boss hits the bottom of the floor, it'll keep damaging you until you're dead. Because enemies, when they reach the bottom, they hit you once and then they're gone. When bosses go to the bottom of the screen, they'll continuously keep hitting you until you're dead. So you need to find a way to get your ball from the top to the bottom, hitting it at the bottom. Otherwise, you're pretty much screwed in that sense. So one of my runs, I died by having all my balls trapped at the top because enemies keep spawning at the top. Oh, and the leveling up system is pretty cool, where basically you basically build up a settlement at the top of at the top of the place, because in the intro scene, the entire land is gone, and you have to delve to the bottom to find for treasure. If you die, you go back to the top. So at the top, you get to build up a farm. You have a nice screen at the top, empty real estate, You build up like a farm instead and whatnot. And when you level up, your guy at the bottom shoots a ball, and then if you hit the settlement many times, you level up that bit many times. You only can do it once per session before you go down again. So there is a chance where if you put your land and tiles in the proper sense, when you throw the ball, there's a chance you can get them hitting multiple times, like in Breakout or Arkanoid in a sense. Except you get to do the placements yourself in a sense,
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get more tile sets popping up, you can probably have them arranged in a way that you can actually have your ball hit multiple times on the screen before it goes down again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll give you a power up where you can do it like more than once. So that's pretty cool. So overall, that's a pretty interesting game. Really like the aesthetic, and it's a 2D kind of aesthetic too, but not as old school as Mina the Hollower.
Yeah.
It's very I would see myself playing this a lot more. When I think the game's coming out on 2025. It's coming out for PC and all consoles more or less. So the games I mentioned, they're all coming out for PC definitely, but consoles, probably Absolem is only going to be just for PC. I think it might be an early access thing, maybe. But the other games I just mentioned up till now, they're all like PC, Nintendo Switch, PS, and Xbox.
Right.
And I guess the last game I want to talk about is Morbid Metal. It's an action game that was showcased, I think, not Summer Games. It was probably the PC gaming show, probably for that.
Okay.
Now, the surprising thing is this one-man made game, one-man, mind you, is actually being published by Ubisoft. When I saw the Steam page, like, oh, Ubisoft is publishing this. Okay, cool. It's actually a character action game, but a roguelite. So I think you can see the theme I'm going here with all the demos I've been playing so far. Yeah. So you get to switch between two characters. I played one whole stage. You are getting waylaid by different enemies. Like you got the light enemies, you got the flying enemies that shoot at you, and you've got like the big shielded enemies that are slow but they have huge defense. So you get to switch between a sword wielding robot named Flux and I guess a giant halberd-wielding bot named Eku. So you get to switch between them back and forth. And they have two various playstyles. So one actually just has double sword katana as fast as his attacks. Eku hits like an arc, but is very slow attacks. And all of his special moves are about throwing heavy attacks in an AoE kind of form. Whereas Flux has projectiles.
Okay.
So this roguelite just gets me through just a couple of rounds on the stage. Really, really fun. You get to double jump. You get to use a grappling hook to go through from stage to stage. Yeah, do air combos. Eku does not have air combos, only Flux does. So it's best to switch to him if you're getting bombarded by more flying enemies. I switched to Eku a lot more because the later stages had brought up more shielded enemies, so I need the hard hitting power and all that. So the controls are great. There was a lot of screen shaking. I had to turn that off by default. It's a lot too much, especially the way it moves and jitters, trying to be like a gritty sci-fi kind of game. That's the aesthetic I got. It's like a lot of techno, sci-fi, and whatnot. This one guy did all this is pretty insane. Maybe he had help or whatnot, but for a while, it's kind of like that Axe of Blood game you mentioned. Yeah. But this is more of a sci-fi, metallic, roguelike kind of game.
It looks phenomenal. Yeah, I'm looking at it on Steam, and I remember seeing this out now as well during the PC gaming show. It looks incredible. It looks to be like a hack and slash. It's giving It's very similar to a game that I played recently, which was Keyboard. Keyboard, I didn't get to spend too much time with that, but I just enough to give a very basic review on it. Where it's I think this one's a lot more of your traditional hack and slash. It looks like.
It does. Like your God of Wars and your Devil May Cries.
Yeah, I guess like because with Keyboard in particular, it was very evident. Like you play pretty much the same stages over and over and over again. Just having to pick your route, where it's like you either go left or you go right. die, and then you enter another room where there's enemies. Okay, you beat them up, whatever. You kind of progress and see how far you can get. And then once you die, then you go back. You spawn back up, and then that's when you can start purchasing like your permanent upgrades and stuff like that. So like, is that the same case with Morbid Metal or?
Well, I've only played one stage, but I think it might go that pathway, definitely.
Okay.
But again, I think the look and the way the game plays and feel is what probably sets it apart, because all your robot characters are very sleek looking. Like I said, they came out from a Mech Warrior and an anime, like a Gundam, basically.
Yeah.
It looks very, very sleek, very polished, very nice so far. And although one flaw, I do wish that the characters you control stand out, because I imagine a scenario where I'm going to be waylaid by more than 10 enemies, and I'm going to get swarmed by these dudes. They all look the same. I mean, they blur out because they're all about the same color. My characters need to stand out, like Kratos in God of War.
Yeah.
So I think that just needs to be fixed. Maybe make your main character a bit more saturated and stand out, or have like a light spot shining onto them, or something along those lines to make them pop out, because I foresee this being a huge mess in the different rounds, and it's going to be hard to see your character stand out and blur in and whatnot, especially with the very muted backgrounds. Like, it's a cyber kind of place you're going through, because you play as an AI trying to evolve, fighting against other robots and whatnot, and other sentinels and whatnot. And it's gonna blur out per se, so I think that's just a fix I need. Like other games like Mina and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, Absalom especially, they have designs that actually stand out, so that you don't get in a flurry of fights. You can still spot where your main character is. I think Morbid Metal just needs to fix that. There is no release date. Oh no! It says that the game is coming out on 21st August, I believe.
Yeah, 21st. Yeah.
Early access, so I think that's wise. Maybe early access it, and then 1 year to fix some of the problems it's gonna face. 100% is gonna face a lot of problems along the way. Maybe lack of characters, lack of stages, or the standing out bit I mentioned. I like to see Ubisoft supporting this title, definitely. I mean, that's all they're good for. I mean, because they can't make proper games, if I'm being honest, except for the Prince of Persia game, and even that, people got laid off for that. What the fuck, man? Yeah, and that is my monthly dig at Ubisoft, I guess. So I think I got that thing. I think you got it counted down on a notepad or something, right?
Yeah.
All right, now switching back to you, because you're gonna cap off this segment. So among the games I mentioned, Absalom, Mina the Hollow, Ninja Gaiden, Ball Pit, and Morbid Metal, which one do you think you want to play for yourself from a demo perspective?
Morbid Metal is definitely probably the one that I'm probably gonna go for, because I think it's most impressive that it's been done by like a solo dev. Second, I do love my hack and slash games. I grew up playing Dynasty Warriors and whatnot. So hack and slash games do have a special place in my heart. And I'm a big fan of the sci-fi aesthetic, and while I was quite critical about kind of just like how keyboard plays, it's conceptually a pretty fun idea, and I feel like this, when you're playing as robot samurai essentially, that makes it even more appealing to me. As for like in keyboard, you were kind of like what can only really be described as like some Soviet prisoner who's just like, who gets like cyber augmentations as you progress and stuff like that. But this looks a lot cooler. The art looks incredible. It's like, the fact that it looks like it belongs on a PS5 and it's only developed by one guy is insane.
Nice. How about, okay, now we're also going back to you, of course. Since you talked about the Xbox, we brought up the Xbox and the PC gaming show. Like, maybe we'll just pick whatever that we liked in that presentation. Like, we'll go with you. Like, we'll go with that, and then just go on with that. So tell us more about what you liked and hated about the Xbox showcase and the PC gaming show. Maybe in more detail.
I personally for me, I can't really describe why, for what reason, but I, for some reason, was just a lot more invested in the Xbox Game Showcase in terms of its announcements. They kind of opened up with obviously, the Outer World 2, which we'll probably talk about later, but I guess, they're coming out with, like, sequels that, like, I wasn't really expecting. For example, like, High on Life 2. That was a game that I didn't think was going to ever get a sequel, to be honest, because of kind of, like, the controversy behind, I believe, Squanch Games?
Yeah,
Or was it Squanch
yeah.
Studio? I can't remember, but,
Yep.
yeah, the kind of the drama that happened behind the scenes with the creator of Rick and Morty and whatnot, and I just wasn't too sure if it was like if that was something that they were going to pursue, but it kind of does make sense at the same time because of how highly praised it was, and that looked phenomenal. I just wasn't expecting that. That was really, really cool. And then Clockwork Revolution was a game that really piqued my interest during the Xbox Game Showcase as well. Basically, it takes place in this city called Avalon. It's kind of this steampunk aesthetic. Think, Bioshock Infinite is usually the game that comes to mind when you think of steampunk and stuff like that, right? So it's like that, where you're playing as this guy called Morgan Vanet. And he's kind of like a thug. He's like a leader of a gang, and he's trying to make it seems like he's trying to make his way up Avalon's kind of criminal hierarchy, and then he comes across the ability to kind of rewind time, and that just makes him super overpowered. And then you kind of it looks like you follow that journey of him when he starts to gain power, learn how to use these powers, and kind of utilize them to his best interests as a gang leader in a sense. And yeah, I mean, it's a first-person RPG that, I think it looks like it's gonna be a bunch of fun as well. I just think the overall aesthetic and the gameplay of it looks really cool as well. Like the way that you'll be able to incorporate the time mechanics, like kind of slow down time when bullets are being fired at you, or you can kind of slow down time in that specific area, where bullets are being fired at you, or you free someone in the air, then you can kind of just like shoot at them, shoot them while they're still in the air, and just like wait until the time resumes, and then they just get hit and just go flying and stuff like that. And then even like the small things that you can kind of build cover for yourself by like, if a wall gets destroyed, you can kind of just like rebuild it by reversing time, and then you can use it as cover and whatnot. So I don't know, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of room for kind of mechanical creativity there as well. There was one more game as well, if I can try and find it, that really, really piqued my interest that I wanted to talk about. Or a funny one actually, that I was really, really confused about, was Animo, which is, I can only really describe it as Power World, but more K-pop flair to it. I mean, K-pop fans may hate me for this. I've got no idea who sang the soundtrack to the trailer. It sounded very Le Seraphim-esque to me.
All right, got it.
But it's basically Power World, except if I'm not mistaken, it looked like you could play as the powers themselves.
Like a Pokemon clone in a sense.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And obviously they don't have balls. I think you capture them in like clamshells instead, and it's like very like seas, like almost a very island aesthetic. Like if an island aesthetic was done in a K-drama, almost. That's what it kind of looked like to me. So that was just a really, really funny one that I was just like, okay, like, bold of them to do this, especially while Pocket Pair is going through this lawsuit with Pokemon right now as well.
That's crazy.
So yeah, Persona 4 Revival.
Yeah, that was just like a short clip of that, like a very, very, very short clip, just showing the familiar locations, locales, and no release date. And yeah, I think there were just a lot more complaints from the voice actors who didn't get back in. We've talked about this before. Kind of sad that actually had to happen, unfortunately. But I see Sega just doing the thing where we're gonna give the chance for new people to try out and voice these iconic characters from the days of 2010. Yeah, like 10 years prior, 10, 15, 16 years prior.
15 years ago now.
Jesus Christ, that's quite a while, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks good. I mean, I never played Persona 4, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, and what do you call it? It's been highly anticipated as well. I think I think throughout every single showcase, Persona 4 Revival was at least one game that was constantly being brought up in the chat, just like that you know how they are in showcase chats where before GTA 6 was announced, they would just be like, oh my god, GTA 6 is getting announced or whatever. It's like same thing with this one where it's like Persona 4 is finally going to get announced, and it did, at least for Xbox Game Showcase. Another game that I was pleasantly surprised to see was Invincible Versus.
Yes,
looks like it's going to be phenomenal. I've literally, it's up on our website now. We did a what you need to know on it. They're working very, very closely with Robert Kirkman, I believe, and to make sure that it feels like it doesn't stray too far away from the continuity. They're trying to make it very faithful to the comics and the show. And yeah, this looks like it's gonna be pretty good. And from what I gather, from at least the fighting game scene, is that it's meant to be kind of like a love letter to like 3v3 tag fighters, like Marvel vs. Capcom and whatnot. But I mean, I guess you're the fighting guy here, so like, what do you think of that game?
Looking forward to it because the developers for this are ex-folks from Double Helix. For those who don't know, Double Helix are the guys who made the Killer Instinct reboot that lasted for a very long time. And it's really one of my favorite games back in 2013-14 when I was back in Singapore.
Yeah.
That was a really, really awesome fighting game with really awesome soundtrack, graphics, mechanics, characters, playstyles, and whatnot with the combo breaker system, whatnot. And to have these guys working on an Invincible fighting game called Invincible Versus, by the way, it's surprising, but also welcome. It's a welcome kind of surprise. And this is something where I kind of need to play it for myself to actually gauge interest and whatnot, but I do have faith considering that I've played a lot of Killer Instinct back in the day. So
right, okay.
To see this, especially with the gore and the violence for the finishes for the characters, it's really interesting too. For the roster so far, because I read Invincible like back in the day as well, like all of it. So it's great. I think Mark, the main character, Invincible himself, he will have a lot of like costumes because there's so many variants popping in, and that was Invincible Wars. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Adam Eve would be you got Adam Eve, you've got Lucan, the Viltrumite, Tula, the Viltrumite, Nolan, Omni-Man. Rexplode is gonna be playable definitely because he was in the trailer. Bulletproof is the black guy who has the orange and the bug outfit. Yeah. He actually becomes I guess there'll be another costume where he wears the invincible outfit and whatnot.
Because that was meant to be Invincible's original costume.
Yes,
right?
that's correct. Yeah. And they don't shy away from the violence, which is great, you know. And the what if scenarios would be popping up too, considering Invincible has a bunch of multiverses, storyline and plot lines and whatnot. So you're gonna see a lot of characters from the books coming in. Without going to spoilers, I guess Battle Beast definitely, that's a fan favorite. The giant cat. The giant cat at the mace. I really want them. They definitely will have to bring back his voice actor, Worf from Star Trek, Michael Dorn. Other characters. They
Alan the Alien.
Alan the Alien, definitely a good pick.
Bringing Seth Rogen for that as well.
And then the other Viltrumites, the pirate Viltrumite, voiced by Clancy Brown, the one of the And then you've got the girl Viltrumite, Anissa as well. She's really important in the story too, so she has to be in. Conquest, the last guy.
Conquest was going to be my suggestion as well.
And you've got the main Viltrumite guy, Thrag, they call him. He's a big one too. There's a lot you're gonna bring in. Doc Seismic, Dinosaurus, even the tapeworm guy, the purple, the pink bubblegum thing on his chest. He's the gay guy, the other guy too. That'll be a nice tag team and whatnot. Lots of characters. A robot can be a playable character. Monster Girl, the one from the can do
Yeah,
that.
they've such a wide IP to
A big
kind of
ass
like,
universe that's mimicking
Yeah.
Marvel and DC, but its own universe.
yeah.
Really insane. Yeah, so many you can bring in. It's insane. You got a big ass roster, definitely bigger than say a game like 2XKO that has like 8 people at launch. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. I mean, a lot of drama surrounding that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess,
Yeah,
but
but
I guess, it just looks. For me at least, it's a fighting game that I'm definitely willing to try out because I love the series. I've read a tiny bit of the comics, and I'm a big fan, and to me it just makes sense. It's like it's a superhero game that if any superhero IP deserved a fighting game, it's this one because of just
Definitely.
how gory it is.
yeah. And the thing, I thought it was just gonna be an action adventure game, but this is so much better. If I'm being honest,
Yeah, right.
It's so much better. Yeah. Very good surprise too. So, yeah, that's coming out in 2026. Any other titles you want to bring up before we? wrap up?
I mean, only one more for me, and I wouldn't be me if I didn't bring this up. But obviously, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Black Ops 7. Essentially, it brings us to 2035. So I believe that's about 10 years after the events of Black Ops 2.
Yep.
You'll step back into the shoes of David Mason, who was kind of the main protagonist, along with Frank Woods in Black Ops 2.
He looks like the guy from Gilmore Girls for some reason.
Which guy from Galore? My girlfriend literally just finished it, so like I'm somewhat familiar.
The guy who played the boyfriend to Lorelai, one of them, the main.
Milo,
the
guy that
actor.
was the diner, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Luke.
Oh no, the one, the daughter's Rory, right? Sorry, not
Yeah,
Lorelai.
Rory,
Rory's one of her boyfriends, the young kid with the black slicked hair. He's actually also the actor for Heroes as well. That guy.
He was Luke's nephew, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
he worked
yeah.
at the diner as well.
So,
Yeah,
he's in Call of Duty. He's the guy in the fucking trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
The actor. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's suspected that wall running is going to be back, Black Ops 4 style. So it's not necessarily back to jetpacks, but it's been heavily rumored. People have found in the base game files of Black Ops 6 that you are able to now wall run if you fiddle around with the internals of it. You can wall run in Black Ops 6. So it's safe to assume it's going to be going back to kind of like that kind of style where it's like kind of mainly boots on the ground with a little bit of advanced movement. So a little bit, just like kind of Black Ops 3 meets Black Ops 4 almost.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It looks like it's gonna be great. It's gonna be expensive as heck, of course, because it's Activision, Call of Duty. Not gonna be looking forward to when that comes out and seeing the price for that. But it's that's really about it. Those are really the main games.
I know.
Really
It didn't
piqued my
show
interest.
much. I don't feel that same sentiment about the Black Ops 7. I mean, it's just a nice trailer, but didn't really show much in terms of actual gameplay, which I think they're probably save
not
for
at all,
later. It's just a hype trailer, and I think people are just very divisive about it, which is fair. Like you end that nice little Xbox showcase with a Call of Duty game, but some dude bros are gonna love it. I'm also gonna bring up another expensive game, Outer Worlds 2, which is priced at US $80 for final game. To be fair, it seems to be bigger than the first Outer Worlds game. Obsidian Entertainment are hyping it up to be like twice or 3 times as big as the original Outer Worlds. So Outer Worlds is a game set in a future that's ruled by corporations, and you're being slaved to death. You play like one of these Aunt Cleo or one of the characters from one of the companies, and you gotta like a mission that takes you off course. So you gotta play through it and see how it goes from there. And you recruit party members and go explore the galaxy doing your work, or maybe deviate from the company you're enslaved with. So really cool stuff. You got like a nice bunch of weapons. It's very open worldish. Choices and dialogue matter. There's even perks and flaws you can get to start off with. You actually want flaws in your character so that you can get like the perks that come with it. And also get more bonuses as you remove the flaws, or even just keep them on. I think one of them is a really funny one. It's called Broken. old knees or something. Well, basically, if you
Oh
crouch,
I
if
do
you
remember
crouch,
talking
you
about
sneak
this.
around, you get a good
Yeah, it's
bonus.
like you crack your knees crack or something.
Yeah,
right?
your knees
And then
crack
it
when you
alerts
stand up,
people.
and you alert
Yeah.
everyone around you. So when you're sneaking
Yeah.
around, not a good power up to have to when you stand
Yeah.
up. You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
stuff. It's crazy stuff. You also got like the dumb perk where if your intelligence is really low, you get the dumb trait, and that actually will affect your dialogue, and
Oh.
people talk to you different. You know, they condescend you, and then you solve problems in different ways. Sometimes successful, but only accessible if your intelligence is super low.
Yeah.
So I do like that they're bringing this back. You know, that's like a
Yeah.
nice little trait from the first game.
Ah, okay.
And you got
Yeah.
different weapons here and there too, like a sword that actually attacks and deals more damage the more times you hit it in sync to the beat it plays. I think it's called the Spectrum Rainbow Sword or the Spectrum Dance Sword. It's pretty funny. I mean, you and I saw the presentation. We saw a bit of the gameplay and how it's being presented and whatnot. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not familiar, like, listening, so Outer Worlds is an IP I'm not that familiar with, but I definitely, when it comes to open world RPGs, I'm just always going to be a sucker for them. I love them. You know, Starfield was one of my favorite games of 2023. Yeah, 2023. You know, Cyberpunk as well, whatnot. But yeah, sorry, going back onto Obsidian as well. Avowed is definitely a game I still, you know, even though it didn't quite live up exactly to the hype. You know, it was still received okay. A lot of some people liked it, some people didn't. It was each to their own, right? But I really, I don't know. The way that Obsidian has portrayed this game, it's giving, you know, it's giving a more interesting Starfield to me. In the sense of like being able to, having like negative traits that, like, you know, that kind of immerse you more into the world. Because I feel like that's what I play these types of games for, is for the immersion, the kind of escapism of gaming, right? You know, you play in a world where, you're enslaved by corporations. Then you kind of, for me, I'm the type of person that really puts myself into those shoes and see what it's like to be that character. So, you know, it's to have those kind of like weird, quirky little traits where it's like, you stand up, your knees crack, or, you know, if your intelligence is low, you're dumb, and people talk to you different or treat you differently, right? Those are, to me, that like it adds to the immersion of the game. So for me, it sounds like it's gonna be like really good. It looks really good as well, and you know, I just hope that, you know, it doesn't fall flat, which I don't think is, you know, it's not 100% likely, because it's like they've done a bunch of good games recently. You know, Avowed was, some people really liked Avowed, some people may have not have.
I enjoyed Avowed for what it is. I mean, I know that it's a broken project because they're supposed to make it a multiplayer game, but whatever they created, I bought it in my own money, and I kind of enjoyed it in my own opinion. It's still kind of fun. Especially the fact that combat feels really good. You become the superpowered gun-wielding gun mage. I just like having guns in the fantasy world. So Outer Worlds 2 definitely gonna be one of my top picks. I just wish it wasn't so goddamn expensive. You know, that's my only gripe. I really hope that it's like 3 times or 4 times bigger than the original Outer Worlds in terms of scope and content and quality, so that it can justify the 80. And even then, it's still very iffy, you know. It's charging 80 US base price for it, so it's like kind of iffy with that. But at the same time, if a game's strong enough, people will still buy it regardless, and you have only the market to blame. You know, the vote with the wallet kind of thing, right? Like, look at the Nintendo Switch. People complain about it having games costing that much. I think the console is doing great so far because it's fucking Nintendo. Like I mentioned time and again, you can bitch all you want, but at the end of the day, Nintendo has you by the balls. Has the whole of US and Europe by the balls, and Japan as well. So no matter how much we bitch in Southeast Asia, we're still gonna get it last, because Nintendo knows that their big market and their big money spenders are in the first world countries that matter to them. So
well, I mean, it is it is coming to Game Pass, right? So it's like
should be day one. Yeah, should be day one.
Yeah, it will be day one of the Game Pass. So, you know, if you're already subscribed to Xbox's monopoly of free games, then you know, then you get to play day one for free. You know, then you don't have to be dishing out 80 USD. for it. But at the same time, some people actually want to own their games and be able to play whenever they want, because
True
Game
that.
Pass, eventually games will be taken off.
Yeah, they do.
So but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the showcase itself was actually quite entertaining for me. I found it I found it quite who is it, the guy, what was his name? I can't remember what it was, but he was the head of, his title was the head of sequels.
Oh, right. Ben Schwartz. The voice of Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's he did a great job. He did such an amazing job of playing that role.
That parody role that, it's made for the Outer Worlds. Maybe he might star in the game, who knows? Maybe his paycheck is really, really big though, considering he is in all 3 Sonic movies, you know? Yeah. Here's hoping he becomes a smooth character.
Yeah, but like I guess I just like the fact that they were putting effort into kind of make sure this showcase wasn't too corny and actually was quite humorous. But by implementing somebody who can actually act funny, So I just found that segment of the that second half of the entire showcase when it went into the Outer Worlds Direct a lot more entertaining and an enjoyable experience as a viewer as well.
All right. Now, I think that's all we gotta talk about. Unless you want to bring up something for the PC game show that stood out.
Honestly,
to you?
I mean, for me personally, like, Morbid Metal was the only real game that I was really interested in. I'm not gonna lie, PC gaming show this year, to me at least, was quite lackluster. There wasn't too many games that really kind of tickled my fancy, other than like Morbid Metal, for example.
With the game offerings, there is one game I'm very interested in. It was the last game at the PC show. Wonderberg, the rolling castle roguelike, which you typed in. So I saw this little trailer. It's basically a castle in an auto shooting segment that's similar to Vampire Survivors, except you're a castle. And that's about it. It's a cute little concept from 3-4 German developers under one banner, and it looks like a really adorable game, which I believe is coming out maybe in 2026. They didn't mention it in the PC Gamer article. It's 2026 or end of the year, but I kind of want to play this because of this cute aesthetic and the fact that you're a giant castle on wheels, or spider legs, shooting other castles around you, or giant ramparts and whatnot. So that and Berserk or Die, which came out like on the day itself. That's basically a arcade style game, roguelike. Like one screen, you basically got to smash your keyboard to hit enemies left and right. So your left side of the keyboard is your left attack, your right side of the keyboard is the right attack, and your middle keys are to block. So basically, you've got to basically destroy Romans coming in left and right as a berserker. And that's all you do. You just power up and kill Romans left and right until you die. Or you get through like maybe X number of waves, like maybe 30, 40 waves. It's a challenging game, especially with all the Romans coming in like simultaneously and a bunch of the arrows and catapults coming at you. At least they telegraph the arc at you, so if you see red lines popping up, that's when you gotta dodge out of the way. Yeah. That's a fun arcade game. Also, like being presented by Ponko, creator of Vampire Survivors. So that's your seal of approval right there.
Fair.
But beyond those games, I'm not really. I think I even mentioned some of them on the summer game. The Steam NextFest games I mentioned earlier on. Like Morbid Metal, like you mentioned, and Ninja Gaiden and whatnot. Also making repeat appearances on PC Gamer Show. But I'm in that same sentiment where I'm kind of like on the fence, where I just want to just get to sleep, and whatnot. Because it's basically like 3, 4, 5 in the fucking morning for these things. I don't think I didn't finish this until about 7 a.m. I don't think our time.
So it was just this like I love how they change things up by having like Day 9 do their little bits and pieces.
It's still corny, which is alright. They're keeping it theme,
Yeah, they keep it interesting, but at the same time as well, it's just like I feel like the games that they include are if they don't I feel they just don't quite tickle my fancy personally. So
there's a lot of indie games, I'll tell you that lah. So a lot of people who are on that scene like I am too might actually find something they like or what I like, and they just blur to me lah in that sense. Like there's a lot of announcements, but these half these games are not coming out until like next year or God knows what.
Yeah.
Because indie game developers are smart enough not to put their release date if they cannot commit to it.
Yeah.
Something big ass publishers should learn lah per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess to put this whole summer of gaming showcase in a nutshell, to wrap a bow tie around it, maybe you like to give your I guess, which is your favorite show, what your ranking would be for each of them, and start.
Yeah, I think Summer Games Fest definitely up there. I don't know. I did enjoy Xbox Games Showcase a bit more. So I think, honestly, it's very, very close between the two. Actually, I'm trying to think. Like
Everything else is like a bottom lah, I guess, right?
Yeah, like PC Gaming Show. I don't know. Yeah, PC Gaming Show would probably have to be at the bottom for me, just because I just didn't find it. Besides the Day 9 doing his thing, I just wasn't really that invested in it. As for Game Search Summer Games Fest, I think the games that were announced were pretty were very, very interesting. But I think the one that I'm looking most forward to is probably Stranger Than Heaven, just because RGG Studio, kind of changing things up, finally doing a non-like a Dragon Day game, once again, and it's just like it's just been a while since we've seen them do anything else. So, and the theme of it being like set in the Japan 1940s, kind of where it looks like kind of like the Western criminal activity, like organized crime, is slowly seeping its way into Japan. That's kind of what it looks like it's turning out to be. So that looks pretty fun. Obviously, Resident Evil Requiem, the ninth installment of the game that's been so highly anticipated. Sorry, not the ninth installment, but the
a nice hype announcement, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That was good and understandable why they left that to last. But I think Summer Games Fest definitely, while there were games that for games from studios that I'm not really that familiar with, they also picked games that I think, or showcase games that definitely appeal to the general mass. And whether it be indie games like Axe of Blood, or the Scott Pilgrim EX, games that people are going to like. Yes, they might be contrarian and be typing in the chat just F or L announcement, whatever, but these are games that people are probably going to end up buying or investing time into when they do come out. So yeah. I think Summer Games Fest this year was probably does top it. I feel like Xbox Game Showcase only really falls just behind, just because of the fact that there was they had to balance the focus between game announcements and the Outer Worlds too. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So for my side, I would probably rank the State of Play PlayStation a little higher for me, because of the games and the way it's been presented, very quick on the dot, and I like the developer interview stuff that happened behind the scenes, especially for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, which I raved on about in the solo episode I did. I don't want to bring it up here because I did way too much talking on that. So that is the biggest surprise and the best one I've had. So I'm putting that along with the other games too, Neo 3, Lumines Arise as well, and a lot. Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. It's something I've been waiting for quite a while too. Most of them are all playable this year, with the bigger heavy hitters and the last game all playable next year. And I guess the second and third would probably be of course, it's a tie. It's still a tie, but I would say Xbox Showcase kind of ranks in second because of the Outer Worlds 2 doing most of the heavy lifting. Until the price drop happened, which is after the presentation, and then when you go to the Steam page, damn it, this is like a Nintendo tactic all over again for Switch 2. Yeah, they copied from the best last. So yeah. Some good announcements and game things too, like Ninja Gaiden's release, fourth release date, and Keeper's also a nice one. Nice to know that Double Fine is still around and not being pushed around too much by Xbox and whatnot. Summer Games Fest also had some good announcements too, but in terms of presentation and getting on the ball with what they have, I think Xbox is a bit more, to the point as well, which is nice.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
No, so the announcement about the handheld, the ROG.
Oh yeah,
sorry,
the
the
ROG
Xbox Ally.
Yeah.
Good specs and everything. That's promising as well for a lot of like players who want their game on the go. I'm actually considering on getting it too because of the whole Xbox ecosystem that I'm actually more familiar with.
Yeah, like play Xbox everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
It would be interesting. I mean, like it essentially it's you know you have kind of a Steam Deck that is optimized for Xbox games essentially via the Xbox Game Pass, and pretty much I would say every game from here on out as well will be compatible with the ROG Xbox Ally as well. So
yeah, and also the Summer Games Fest is there too at the third place or so. Also giving a shout out to an Indonesian developer for Axe of Blood. Also good pop up right there. SCA Games Showcase, it's also pretty good too. I would put them around the top too. The Southeast Asia Games Showcase, give love to the developers and whatnot. Yeah. Something that's really needed,
Yeah, I think honestly for C Games Showcase, I wish I got to see a little bit more of the hosts, because we know them personally. We get to talk to them every now and again.
Oh, I actually had a chat with them on Sunday. Really good stuff they did. Yeah, I met Arif and one of our ex-writers, Burhan, actually did the Bahasa Melayu translation, so multi-language.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Yeah. I would have liked to see a lot more of them because, like, I know they can all be very charismatic, and I know how passionate they are about games, and I feel like people deserve to see more of like how passionate we are. Southeast Asia in general, the
passionate, vocal
community is so passionate about developing video games. So it would have been nice to see a little bit more of their personality in that, and so they could convey. We love doing this. We love talking about this shit, covering this shit, developing games and whatnot.
Yeah. And then every other presentation I didn't mention is all at the bottom tier, more or less.
Okay, fair,
yeah. I'm loving what we have so far. Good little celebration here and then for games.
Yeah.
And one more thing. Oh yeah, SCA Aesthetics, who we talked to on Twitter, Indonesian writer, content creator, whatnot. He also had a hand in making the SCA game showcase as well. So looking forward to seeing more from those guys. Like probably as a fourth month thing. I'm not sure the proper term is like a seasonal thing. I think I want to see more of a seasonal thing happening from these guys. Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like definitely encourage developers to get a move on as well. If there's a showcase, twice a year or every quarter, then at least there's something for developers to kind of work towards to showcase their things, so.
Yeah. And also I should add, I'm actually doing a secret project with SCA Games Aesthetic as well. I can't really announce much yet because I'm still, I would say 20% in. So until it's about 80 or 90%, I can definitely talk about it. Because of all the embargo stuff I have to work on and whatnot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, like Death Stranding 2, which I can announce I can play it. I'm playing it, but I cannot announce anything else. That's all.
I've seen your picture in the chat here.
Yeah, and I can only talk about it like on the 24th of June, so stick around for that, I guess.
Yeah.
Along with other games and other games I'll be covering within that span of the week. All right, I think that is it on our side. Thank you so much for joining me, Lewis, and great work with all the Summer Game Fest and Summer Games weekend coverage and whatnot.
Yeah, I can't lie. My sleep schedule is a bit messed up. I mean, actually that's wrong. My sleep schedule is not messed up. It's just I'm very sleep deprived. Like I've been waking up at normal times, but like sleeping at 7, waking up at 10, that kind of thing. But I'm making sure to get some power naps in throughout the day. But, it's just that time of year.
Please do. And this is me, Jonathan Toyad. That's Lewis right there. And thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you in the next show. Do like and subscribe our show when you can. We're on YouTube. We publish content every week. And you do the whole bell thing that you probably see at the bottom of the screen, which I'm probably going to put up and whatnot. The subscribe button, notification and whatnot. And we'll see you guys when the next Media Games Blitz happen, which is hopefully never. But anyway, probably see us or whatnot next week, and that's it for our show. See you guys.
Bye.